Right now, as you are watching this video, millions of people living inside the United States of America are stuck in legal limbo. They filed their paperwork, they paid their fees, they followed every single rule the system told them to follow. And now they are waiting. Weeks, months, sometimes over a year, waiting for a letter, waiting for a call, waiting for any sign that the government even knows they exist. And while they wait, immigration enforcement is not slowing down. Arrests are happening. Deportation flights are taking off. And for millions of people who tried to do everything the legal way, the gap between where their paperwork sits and where enforcement stands has never felt more dangerous. This is not a story about people who broke the law. This is a story about a system under enormous strain and the millions of real human beings caught inside it. Stay with me, because what you are about to hear is backed by official government data, confirmed reporting, and real voices from inside this crisis. Let us start with the numbers, because the numbers say everything. Right now, there are 11.6 million pending applications sitting inside the uscis backlog. 11.6 million. These are applications for citizenship, green cards, work permits, and asylum, all submitted by real people, all waiting for a decision that has not come. That is more than the entire population of countries like Belgium or Bolivia. 11.6 million human beings, with families, jobs, children, and lives, all in legal uncertainty. And on top of that backlog, uscis tracks something separately called a front log. Nearly 248,000 applications that have been submitted, but that the agency has not even physically opened yet. Think about what that means. Nearly 250,000 people sent in their applications, paid their filing fees, and have not even received confirmation that anyone at the government looked at the envelope. Not reviewed, not processed, not even opened. This data comes directly from U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, the federal agency responsible for processing these applications. This is not an estimate. This is what the government's own records show. So how did the backlog reach this point? Since the start of 2025, the Department of Homeland Security has taken longer and longer to process applications. An NPR analysis of official uscis data, published on April 17, 2026, found that an increasing number of people are now waiting months without even receiving confirmation that their application was received, let alone reviewed. The Trump administration says the slower processing is necessary. USCIS spokesman Matthew Tregesser stated that the administration has implemented stronger screening and vetting processes that were not prioritized under the previous administration. He said that for years, applications were approved too quickly with minimal vetting, and that the current administration will not take shortcuts in the review process. The administration also introduced a new requirement for applicants to submit their social media handles to the government as part of enhanced identity verification and national security screening. DHS confirmed this policy, saying it is designed to identify potential fraud, public safety, or national security concerns. So the administration's position is clear. Slower processing means more thorough vetting, and more thorough vetting means greater security. That is their argument. But critics, including immigration attorneys, advocacy organizations, and policy researchers, see the situation very differently. Nicole Malaku, executive director of the National Partnership for New Americans, told NPR, "We are beginning to see the manifestation of data that proves that this administration is slow walking or even denying the opportunity for these people to adjust." That word, slow walking, is important to understand. It is an allegation. It is what critics and advocacy groups are arguing based on the data they are seeing. The administration disputes that characterization, but the data itself, the 11.6 million backlog, the 248,000 unopened applications, that data is not in dispute. It comes from the government's own records. David Beer, director of immigration studies at the Libertarian Cato Institute, described what he sees as the practical consequence of the current approach: It's throttle everything, focus entirely on deportations and arrests as your measure of success. If those are your only measures of success, then who cares about opening applications that could prevent someone from being arrested? Again, this is his analysis, his interpretation of the data. But it reflects a concern that is being raised across the political spectrum, including by researchers who do not necessarily oppose stricter immigration enforcement. Now let us talk about the specific policy actions that have taken place, because these are confirmed facts, not interpretations. In the second half of last year, the Trump administration paused the review of all asylum applications across the board. That pause only restarted in late March of 2026, meaning applicants waited for months with their cases completely frozen. The administration also froze immigration applications for people from 39 countries on the travel ban list, citing what it called higher security risks. That list includes countries across Africa, as well as Iran, Afghanistan, and Syria. Then, following a violent incident in November 2025 involving an Afghan national, DHS Secretary Noam ordered USCIS to halt asylum processing for immigrants from every country and launched a full re-examination of green cards issued to people from designated high-risk nations. USCIS also announced it would re-review the cases of people admitted as refugees under the Biden administration. Some of those cases have been referred to Immigration and Customs Enforcement for further action. These are people who had already gone through the legal process, already been vetted, already settled into American communities, now having their cases reopened. On March 30th of 2026, USCIS announced it would partially lift the asylum pause, but only for applicants from what it called non-high-risk countries. The problem that followed was this: the agency did not publish a clear list of which countries are considered high risk. No written guidance was issued. So even after the partial lifting of the pause, attorneys and applicants across the country were left trying to figure out who could move forward and who remained frozen. Elizabeth Jacobs, from the Center for Immigration Studies, an organization that supports stricter immigration limits, acknowledged that high backlogs create real problems for everyone involved. She noted that efficient processing actually serves the government's own enforcement goals, because unresolved cases make the system harder to manage for everyone. Even from a restrictionist perspective, a backlog of nearly 12 million is seen as a sign that something in the system needs to change. Now let us talk about what this actually feels like for the people living inside it, because behind every number in that backlog is a human being. Immigration attorney Luis Cortez Romero, based in Seattle, told NPR, "It's a very tense conversation happening with clients trying to brace for impact." One of his clients was denied a green card interview in January, after already waiting a full year, due to a paperwork delay. As of the reporting date, that interview had still not been rescheduled. 1 year of waiting, a denial, then more waiting. No end date in sight. Another attorney spoke about the emotional weight of this moment. "This has impacted my practice, my mental health, my clients' mental health. They're just overwhelmed, tired, and frazzled from the uncertainty. These are professionals who work inside the system every day. Imagine what their clients are experiencing. Families who cannot make plans because they do not know if they will still be in this country next year. Workers who cannot change jobs because their work authorization is stuck in a pending file. Parents lying awake at night, not because they broke any law, but because their paperwork has not been processed. This is the human reality behind the statistics." There are also economic consequences that affect the broader American workforce. Many of the people stuck in this backlog are employed by American companies, in American communities, across industries like healthcare, technology, agriculture, and construction. When their immigration status is uncertain, their ability to legally continue working is uncertain too. Employers are facing situations where valued employees cannot renew their work permits because of processing delays. Projects stall. Teams are disrupted. The ripple effect of that uncertainty extends far beyond individual immigrants. It touches the businesses that employ them and the communities that depend on those businesses. If you or someone you know is currently in this situation, here is what matters most right now. Connecting with a qualified immigration attorney is the single most important step. The policy landscape is shifting constantly. New executive orders, new court decisions, new agency guidance. Any of these can change someone's situation very quickly. Community organizations, including the National Partnership for New Americans, the Asian Law Caucus, and local legal aid offices, are actively helping immigrants understand their rights and navigate available options. Stay informed through credible sources. Stay connected to legal support. And know that you do not have to figure this out alone. Let us close with the broader picture. The debate over U.S. immigration policy is real, and it is genuinely complex. The Trump administration argues that stronger vetting protects national security and ensures the integrity of the immigration system. Critics argue that the slowdown goes beyond vetting, and that the data shows a pattern of making legal immigration harder to complete. Both sides point to the same numbers. What they disagree on is what those numbers mean, and what should be done about them. What is not in dispute is this. Right now, in April of 2026, nearly 12 million people are waiting for immigration decisions. Each one of them is a person with a name, a family, a story, and a future that is right now uncertain. Whether you support stricter immigration enforcement or believe the current approach goes too far, the scale of this backlog and its impact on millions of human lives is something that deserves serious attention. If this video gave you a clearer, more honest picture of what is happening, share it with someone who needs to understand this issue. Subscribe, hit the notification bell, and stay with us. We will keep bringing you verified, accurate reporting on U.S. immigration, because these stories matter. We will see you in the next one.